I sincerely believe that Shadows of Evil is the best zombie map that has ever been made. It has everything. Great settings and themes, 4 incredible characters all voiced by some of the best actors and actress in the business, the story the map tells, the introduction of the Shadow Man and the Apothecans, not to mention all of the new game mechanics that we got to experience for the first time in a zombies experience. It truly was and still is the best zombie map of all time. So we're gonna go back there once again to see if I can beat this map using an assortment of weapons that aren't from Black Ops 3. And today's victims are those of World War II, and I've just realized how bad that sounds as I've said it. I've beaten this map using Black Ops 3 weapons, I've beaten this map using Cold War weapons, I've beaten this map twice with WW2 weapons, with one of those times being a gun game. And the thing is, each and every single one of those runs have had something in common. They were all kind of easy. They were, and that's coming from someone who is awful at Easter eggs, but they were kind of easy. So I knew when it came to running this back that the next set of weapons had to be something on the weaker side. Weapons that aren't exactly the best of the best. And that's where this mod comes into play. The World War II weapon mod. At least in my experience, it doesn't have those ridiculously overpowered weapons. Shotguns that just decimate everything, LMGs that have 1,000 round magazines, ARs and SMGs that are just one-shot machines of what seems like forever. It doesn't have those, which is perfect. As you've seen in the gameplay whilst I've been rambling on, this run started very well for us. Round 1, we got Nero's Gateworm pretty quickly. The next few rounds, I focused on getting myself down to the waterfront for Gateworm number 2. I also picked myself up the trench gun, which I later discovered was trash. Round 3 and the second Gateworm was mine, and we also had our first tussle with a Margwa, which resulted in me getting a Pack-a-Punch drop. And spoilers, they exist in this mod, and of course I took it. I was very tempted to give it to the pistols, but without PhD, that'd just be a death trap, so trench gun it was. End of the same round, I found myself inside the Ruby Rabbit, grabbing our third Gateworm, and I'm not gonna lie, at this point, I was grooving. Following round, I got myself double tap and moved into the Burlesque, where I then acquired Gateworm number 4, and Pack-a-Punch was ready to be opened. I also got myself a free perk that was Mule Kick, which I wasn't too mad with, as I'd already decided I wanted to keep the pistol for Mustang and Sally, and with that, I then bought the AS-44. Before I opened Pack-a-Punch, I went and got myself some perks, being Speed and Jug. From here, I then opened up Pack-a-Punch and started the next step of the Easter egg. The more I play through this Easter egg, the more I realize it's actually very easy, and I'm kind of ashamed that I struggled with it for so long. I mean, obviously, the flag step can be complete hell, but with a good setup, it's actually not that bad. It's just, you know, a little chaotic. The next step, however, required me to go find some symbols, and after all these years, I still forget where all 3 are located, but after a few rides on the train, we had our symbols and we were ready to collect our egg. Egg collected, and now it was time to charge it. Luckily, the first section of this process is super simple. Pick up the egg, place it in the Cthulhu statue, and get about 10 kills. It's easy peasy. This takes just 2 rounds to get fully charged, and before long, I'm picking up my sword. Now this is where the fun starts. Trench gun and sword in hand, I'm making my way around the map, looking for the glowing red rings. We start on the waterfront and place our egg. The reason I started here is that for this step you spawn in Margwas and you basically just have to kill them. But the first one only spawned 1, whereas the rest spawned 2. And being down by the gym with 2 Margwas spawning, yeah, it's not fun. But 1 Margwa is manageable. Thankfully as well, the trench gun is good at one thing, and that is taking down the Margwas. And it wasn't long before the first one was down. Round 10 was an interesting round as it was a bug round, but it was also the first round where I had to fight the meatballs. Now the trench gun was good at taking down the regular zombies and the Margwas, as I said, but I very quickly learned it sucks, and I mean like it was so bad at taking down the meatballs, which is a pretty big problem. I mean, the problem is the fact that during the flag step, it's basically just an attack of the meatballs, so having guns that are good at taking them out It's kind of a necessity. So I cleared out the rest of the round and took out the 2 Mogwais for the step. I kept the shotgun for now, as over the next 2 rounds I used it to take out the rest of the Mogwais, which got us ready to collect our upgraded sword. The sword was picked up, and now all that was left before the boss fight was the flag step. I decided to give the shotgun one chance, as shotguns for this step are usually the go-to, and I know I could just spin the box for a better shotgun, but there's like 80 plus guns in this mod, and I just really didn't fancy spending twice as long getting one gun out of the box, so yeah, just no. Anyway, the shotgun was ass during this first flag run. It was so bad at taking down the meatballs. And it wasn't just bad at taking out the meatballs, it was also just as bad at taking out the Shadow Man, which of course meant he was spawning in tons of bugs, which was making me think that this was about to be complete hell. But then I remembered, during the first part of the egg step, I got the pistols upgraded thanks to a pack-a-punch drop. So I got to blasting, and the blasting worked like a charm. And I'd now realized that the OP gun for this mod, it isn't a shotgun, it isn't an LMG, it isn't an AR or an SMG, it is in fact the starting pistol, as the rest of this flag run was a dawdle, and just like that, 1 of 4 flags were done. I then opted to get rid of the shotgun as it was ass, and I didn't really know what gun I wanted to take its place. That was until I saw the Lad machine gun, and the only reason I took it was simply down to the name. So, yeah. With the machine gun pack-a-punched and the dually pocket rockets equipped, I blitzed through these flag runs. The pistols, granted we were only on low teen rounds, were just ridiculous. And thanks to PhD that I had acquired, which doesn't have a HUD icon for some reason, but having that perk meant I could just farm the meatballs without really having to worry about anything. And the second flag run went by in a breeze. The third flag run was where we had our first failure. We were on our way to the Ruby Rabbit, and I just decided to use the Lad for a bit. It wasn't a great idea, and the flag was broken. Second attempt, the pistols did all the work, and we were done with flag number 3, and that meant we only had 1 to go. The last one always throws me off. We get the first section done, and then I just completely forgot where to go for the second placement of the flag. After about 5 minutes of running around while I was being chased by endless amounts of meatballs, I found a place where the flag could be placed, and I got back to blasting. This one started off a little dicey, but once I got a grip on it, they went by in a breeze. We placed the final flag down, and now we're on to the boss fight. This fight was complete chaos. Every other time I have done this, it has been a walk in the park. Today, however, no. Just so far from what I was expecting. I'm waiting for things to spawn, and once things get rolling, I just thought I'll ignore all the zombies and just focus on the Shadow Man, which is exactly how I've done this in every other run, which I did. First attempt at killing him, I failed. There were so many zombies coming at me that I honestly just couldn't see the man I was supposed to be shooting at. Second attempt also went the exact same way. It was now as I took a look around and noticed I was being chased by 4 Mogwais. Like, I don't know where they came from, but there was just 4 of them chasing me down. And not only was there 4 Mogwais chasing me, there was enough zombies following me that could honestly house a small town. So I pulled out the Lad and got to blasting, and a couple minutes later, the Mogwais had been taken care of, and now all I had to worry about was a couple of stragglers. We activate the podiums once again, and the fully loaded Lad gets to blasting, and finally, after the most frantic like 10 or 15 minutes of my life playing this map, we get the Shadow Man diced and into our summoning key, and just like that, the Easter egg has been beaten once again. That now means I've beaten this Easter egg with the weapons of 4 different games. At this point, I'll have beaten it with the entire COD weapon discography by the end of the year. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what other challenges you want to see me do, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.